We actually rank as one of the, as one of the pioneer, I hate to use the word pioneer again, but as one of the states with better education systems. So to me, scrapping the MCAS entirely and moving to a national standard doesn't seem to be the solution. But like I said, this is actually just developing, so we're learning more about it, just day to day. And I certainly want to keep an eye on this because I want to see how it's going to impact our district. We need, I don't think we need to be right now lowering standards. I think we need to be increasing funding to make sure that towns like Abington aren't overcrowding, and East Bridgewater gets a new school. There's more issues than just trying to take us completely off of one system and onto another at a time when we're dealing with major budget issues.
As liaison to the school committee, what's the feeling among that committee about this proposed change?
Well, like I said, it's actually just developing now. I mean, I haven't, I haven't been. The next committee meeting, I'm expecting to be hearing more about it. So this is literally breaking as we're talking.
Once again, Diehl Patrick. To know him is to love him, right? He's taking some heat lately for the lack of oversight, issues that are hot in the news right now, allowing illegal immigrants to get taxpayer-funded discounts on prescriptions and free rides on public transportation.
Yeah, these are just, again, news as we speak type of things. This was just found out recently that, again, we're giving away programs and money to people who are illegal in the state. I know this is a huge national issue right now too. So I mean, dealing with the Arizona law in Massachusetts, we seem to be on the other end of the spectrum. We seem to be a state that's sort of a welcome mat to illegal immigrants because of the amount of subsidies we give. I just talked to Geoff Perry a few days ago at an event at.
Can you explain to the viewers who Geoff is again?
Yeah, Geoff Perry is a state rep right now. He's running for Congress from the 10th Congressional District, and he is the author of the Perry Amendment at the State House, and he's actually put that out for 2 years in a row now. Last year it was rejected. This year, again, it's still being debated. It doesn't look like any action is going to happen on it. But like I was saying, we're giving out more benefits than I'd say anybody else. The numbers just came in, and Geoff told me it was $1.9 billion spent in this last budget year to pay for the health care, housing, education, cars in some cases for illegal immigrants. And now we're talking about free rides on transportation, prescriptions. We've got to take care of our own. I mean, again, I'm not trying to make this an issue. It's strictly an issue of finance. It's great that America, welcomes you're tired, you're hungry, you're poor. However,
but do it through the legal process.
Right. I mean, right now the state is borrowing over $3 billion to finance things, and we've got to bring in a balanced budget. We're borrowing just to try to balance our budget right now. The federal government is leveraged to the hilt right now. We cannot afford to keep going down this track, both on a national level and on a state level.
I'm curious. Do you have any numbers about like Mass Health? How is that burdened at all? The expense of Mass Health and some of those other programs, Commonwealth Health. I don't know if you're.
I don't have all the numbers on specifically on the healthcare breakdowns for all that. I know that as a lump sum that was the total amount that
$3 billion.
No, 1.9 billion on the illegal immigrants. I mean, pension reform and healthcare benefits are another issue the state needs to face. And as far as healthcare, we're dealing with government employees paying a very low copay. In most cases $5.
While it's not anywhere in par with the private sector.
Right. For working class, we're talking about in $25, $35 copays, which
deductibles.
Right. So if we had more of an equal system, I think we'd also be reducing the burden on the state for healthcare plans.
Right.
So again, things that once in office, I'd like to certainly
explore
those. And take on.
Yeah. Okay. A little bit different topic. The leaders of the House and Senate are debating casinos and racinos as a way to try to get quick money for the budget. Now, if they don't work out a deal with the racetracks like Raynham Taunton to get slots, it might jeopardize the governor's gaming bill. And what would happen
Yeah, so
in that situation?
right now, the
Yeah.
Senate leader, Therese Murray, and Bob DeLeo from the House, the Speaker of the House, have been trying to hammer out a deal on, I think it's basically hinging now on whether the racetracks should get slots, or they're calling them racinos. Right. And it's something that, right, if they don't get a deal, I think, worked out and get it to the governor's desk, I want to say the deadline was potentially yesterday, maybe they extended it. It gets to the point where then if the governor decides that he's not in favor of the plan that hits his desk, it's too late in the legislative session to get an override from the legislature to actually go ahead and have that happen anyway.
Yeah.
So they've put that in jeopardy, and it does affect, obviously, the decision on whether or not we're going to have casinos in the state,
Right,
and whether the local racetracks like the Raynham Taunton are going to have slots. Now, I was just at the senior center here in Whitman. Actually had a cookout on Saturday, so I stopped by and was talking to the people there, and right hot topic for them was, are we going to potentially have slots at the casinos? And I said, makes sense to me. We've had gambling in the state. We have the state lottery with scratch tickets. We have Keno. I mean, I'm not a proponent necessarily of casinos,
Yeah.
but I know that they're in neighboring states. So
Well, the seniors travel to those neighboring states, and
Yeah.
they're dropping some money there, along with a lot of other
Well,
Massachusetts citizens.
and as one of the seniors at the senior center told me, there's buses that come from Maine. People get in a bus in
sure.
Maine and come
Yeah.
all the way down to Foxwood. So it would be nice to have that revenue ending up here in Massachusetts, as well as Massachusetts residents having the option of staying here in the state and letting that money go back to,
Yeah.
for example, schools, which is how the lottery system's set up. So I think, again, my personal feelings aside, I think it's something that's here. Why not capitalize on it and bring
Right.
industry and jobs,
Right.
to the area? There is a debate on, obviously, the local impact to restaurants and businesses that might be impacted by it.
Traffic, yeah.
Traffic
Yeah.
patterns. Also, if you look at some of the states, like cities like Atlantic City and Stonington, I believe, or right outside of Foxwoods,
Yeah.
there is a higher unemployment rate. I think there tends to be, and there's crime that's
Yeah,
associated with it. So
Yeah.
those are the things I don't like. But again,
Right,
the state
right.
seems to have already moved forward on this, and it looks like it's inevitable. So let's try to do it in a way that makes sense for the state, and also gets people locally here. I think Raynham Taunton would be a benefit to having it here. When they closed down the Greyhound racing, over 1,000 people lost their jobs, and so there's at a time when we really
Right.
didn't need to be losing jobs. We were heading
Yeah.
right into the downturn.
People obviously felt for the health of the animals, but there's two sides to that.
Well, I'd heard
discussion. The owners and the trainers say they're well cared for.
right. I'd heard that they'd increased. That the care of the animals had increased over years,
Yeah.
and to the point where they were treated pretty well. I think. I don't know, with horse racing, I've heard that the diet and the care that they're given, it's great. But I'm not going to judge what
Right.
goes on with the dogs.
Right.
But the other thing
Yeah.
too is the argument made is that the dogs aren't necessarily not racing anymore. They just go to different states that do still
Yeah.
allow it. So
A vast majority, and then some are put up for adoption, of course.
that's right. But again, I think we also need to make sure that the money that comes from state gambling is put the right way. What I'm nervous about too is that the legislators trying to set up many oversight committees that they can now align with patronage jobs that will be part of the gambling regulation, and that certain monies may not be allocated to
Another
go back.
bureaucracy.
More bureaucracy.
Less getting back to the citizens.
Ever expanding government.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I just am unfortunately not in office yet. Can't see directly what deals are being worked out, but I just hope that we don't find out that this is just another chance for them to create a lot of government growth and waste of money, and that money comes back to the towns directly.
Yeah,
We've already
sure.
got a state lottery commission. I don't know why we can't fold this all together
Right.
and make it a gambling commission that keeps the same staffing now,
Yeah.
and just oversight of these.
Yeah, I think it would be pretty easy to make that transition to cover the casinos and the racinos too. Hey, there's a grand opening coming up.